Hello, everyone. I'm Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official Marvel Snap Zone podcast. And today we have so very much to talk about. I've got a combo deck that has a zero point 0.7 cube rate. That's absolutely through the roof for a cube rate. We're talking about 0.4 to 0.5 being where they usually nerf things. This deck has a 56% win rate, 4% lower than is usually nerfable, but a 0.7% cube rate. That deck is going to come from our friend the Jolly Roger. We're going to talk about his Twitter momentarily and why you should be following him for some of the coolest and strangest decks in the game. We're also going to talk about the brand new card releasing today, Jean Grey. Seen the views. I know outside of season pass cards that you guys don't always buy, don't always pick up, don't always look for the new cards. So we're going to talk about that in the second half of the video so that if you're not interested in my take on Jean Grey and what I think the best Jean Grey deck will be, you don't have to be there. Before we go any further, before we talk about the Jolly Roger, I'm going to explain to you what we do here, tell you why you should sub, like, and comment. About 60% of our viewers are unsubscribed. That's way too much. If you're going to get this content, you should sub. Show some love, show some support. What you get in return are the following things. First, we get you the best and coolest decks in Marvel Snap before any of the other content creators have even noticed that these decks exist. We break the meta, we find the decks before everyone else does. The other major thing that you're going to get is we do the single biggest giveaway in Marvel Snap every single season. We give away 5 or more season passes, and we even have a grand prize that includes some token Tuesdays. It used to include every token Tuesday, but I can't really afford giving away all these season passes and that every month, but you're going to get the biggest giveaway. Make sure you're subbed, and those of you who are subbed, hit me with a like and comment. Show some love, show some support. It really helps with that YouTube algorithm, and we'd appreciate it. Another person you should be subscribed to is the king of Marvel Snap TikTok, the Jolly Roger. He's Snap Show over on TikTok. You can see it right here. He has this Twitter page, and on it, he releases a bunch of wildly, wildly cool decks. He's one of the organizers of SnapCon. He'll be there. But he's got TikToks of how these decks go off and what everything does. The coolest decks you'll find. Make sure you're checking him out on Twitter at the Jolly Roger BA for his stuff. All right, let's get to the deck of his we're going to talk about. This one is also going to be our deck of the day over on Marvel Snap Zone. So make sure you check it out. Jolly is calling this Nim Jacinto 2.0. You're going to look at this deck and be like, this deck is stupid. Why is this deck here? What does this deck do that helps it win so many cubes? The main thing this deck does is have the same basic Nimrod Shuri game plan that you're seeing so much in the meta. The basic idea is to play some destroy cards early, get some power going on the board with your cards like Nova and Killmonger and Deathlock and so on. Then on turn 4, you Shuri, turn 5, you Nimrod. Then in one lane, you play Venom to eat that Shuri Nimrod, keep that 12 power there. And in another lane, you either you Carnage. You can also use Deathlock and Carnage. You cannot, or and Deathlock. It doesn't really matter how you end up combining it. I'm a fan of Venom and Carnage being my preferred way, and that spreads that 12 power Nimrod. You'll get 2 12 power Nimrods in one place. Venom maintains the power from that 12 power Nimrod, and hopefully you're destroying some other really good things. It's a very strong way to get a lot of power all across the board. Another playline, though, what makes this deck so special and so cool is the second playline. If you can get this set up, on turn 2, you Invisible Woman. On turn 3, you play whatever. Turn 4, you Shuri in a lane that is not the Invisible Woman lane. On turn 5, you play Taskmaster under Invisible Woman. All good? It's important to note that this Taskmaster does not count as played for Shuri because it is not resolving because it's under Woman. The next turn, you play Destroyer on that Shuri lane. You're going to kill your whole board, but you're going to have 30 power in one lane. 30 power wins an awful lot of lanes, right? Now, it's important that you only have Taskmaster under Invisible Woman, but then you release your, the game ends and Taskmaster flips. It's going to copy the 30 power Destroyer. You now have 33 power in that Invisible Woman lane. You've got a 30 power lane and a 33 power. The Nimrod version gets usually about 24 power in a couple lanes and 12 in one more. This version drops 30 and 33. No one sees it coming. No one expects it. It's so freaking powerful. You've got to try it out. Or at least try it out once everyone's not playing our brand new card. This is Jean Grey. Jean Grey is finally joining Marvel Snap, one of the biggest cards not to be in the game. She is a 3/3 with the ongoing. Players, as in both players, must play their first card here each turn if possible. The first card you play must go in Jean's lane. That's going to mess up the last combo, but Jean's not going to be in every deck, so don't stress it, especially in Conquest. So, how you end up doing this. Jean is crazy strong, right? You can play her early. Your opponent fills the lane, they can play elsewhere. But you can easily then, knowing how much that will be, go over the top. Things like move, things like destroy, help you get around this because you can play cards there, destroy some of their cards, destroy some of your cards, and force the plays to keep going there. If they can only play one decent sized card a turn, it's going to be really, really easy to take over this lane. That's not how I want to play her, though. I want to be playing Jean 5 because I want to control where they have to play on turn 6. And I think the best way to do that is in a Surfer deck. We saw this deck 2 weeks ago. I got 2 Infinity tickets with this. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I got 2 Infinity tickets with this deck. In addition to those 2 Infinity tickets, I also went 4-1 in a Conquest Infinity run with it, and I've just been dominating on ladder with it, just straight up crushing. The version I was playing had Sarah in Jean Grey's spot. This version is slightly different. Here's how I want it to go. I want to fundamentally decide in different games between playing a Jean Grey game and an Invisible Woman game. On turn 2, I'm going to play... turn 1, I play whatever. Maybe I play Nova, maybe I save Nova for 4, who cares? On turn 2, I want to play Goose or Invisible Woman. On turn 3, I want Storm and 4 Juggernaut and then Nova. On turn 5, I want to play Jean Grey and either Goose or Invisible Woman. I can play Jean and then Invisible Woman to make sure that I'm revealing whatever cards I want last, or I can play Jean in one lane and Goose in another, fundamentally super limiting them if they try and play 2 cards. Let's say they have a 2 and a 4. At last turn, what that does is it allows me to Shadow King with extreme confidence on the last turn. I can know that they're going to play their big card under Jean. I can play say Killmonger under Jean and then a Surfer elsewhere, knowing that other location, or even a Maximus elsewhere, knowing that other location is going to be a free win. If it's Invisible Woman, so much the better. If I have Jean and then Invisible Woman, I've now lost priority, making my Shadow King and Killmonger absolutely wreck everything, especially decks like Bounce. This deck should be the Bounce killer. It already beats Bounce. This is just going to make that so much more consistent. Can you play Jean on 3? Yeah, absolutely. You can fill the lane immediately with your Brood and then play wherever the heck you want, while the opponent is limited to playing a card or 2 a turn in that lane. Meanwhile, once you Brood, Surfer, and Jean, just Jean and Brood alone in a lane is 9 power, and then you're making a 15 power lane when you play Surfer later in the game. It's extremely powerful, and you can add 3 more to that, an 18 power lane if you have Nova. That's enough to win a lot of games of Marvel Snap when they have to play there early, right? They're playing their 4, 5, 6 cards there. You're playing your 4, 5, 6 cards elsewhere. You should be able to steal that game, especially if they're playing big stuff. If you're worried about a card they're playing there not being something you want, let's say they haven't filled it up on turn 6, well, if you're ahead, you can Juggernaut that card away with basically perfect accuracy, right? You know that their last turn play is going to be whatever nonsense, and you beat them. Finally, this absolutely destroys Shuri Red Skull Taskmaster. They play Shuri, right? You know that their Red Skull is going to go in that lane. If you play Jean there, guess where their Taskmaster has to go? Easy, easy, easy wins. You can also just Shadow King that bullshit away. This deck is so cool, so strong. I'm super excited to play it. I'm already infinite as of the video from yesterday. It took me 3 days this season. I had a lot of time to play, a lot of content creation happening here. But It works. The deck works. Everything is working together. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, sub if you haven't. Hopefully you liked the video. Make sure you like. Make sure you comment. Help us out with the YouTube algorithm. Doesn't hurt you, helps us. We appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. Check back tomorrow for another Snap Take. Don't forget to keep your eyes on Marvel Snap Zone for all your Marvel Snap needs. And peace.